Hello everyone, welcome to DIA. Glad that you all could be here. My name is Stephen Hoban, I'm the publications manager here, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with Franz Erhard Walther on the occasion of the release of our newest DIA publication, which is Franz Erhard Walther First Work Set. Franz will, in a few moments, be doing a demonstration of the large process book, which we're very excited to have the opportunity to see that tonight. Just I want to say about the book is made possible through the generous support of Peter Freeman Inc., Gallery Jocelyn Wolff, and the Franz Erhard Walther Foundation. The beverages tonight are courtesy of Brooklyn Brewery, so enjoy those. For those of you who may not know, DIA publications are a bit unique. They have a tendency to come out a bit after the programming that it's associated with, and that's something that we've been doing since the 90s, and it's in keeping with our general philosophy, where we keep our shows up for longer durations so that people have an opportunity to make repeated visits and for extended contemplation of the work, and we try to do the same with the books as well. And so we don't usually start even thinking about the book until after the work is up, and then it can take us several years from there. This book we began, I believe, all the way back in 2009, when our curator, Yasmila Raymond, started a conversation with Franz about showing the first work set, which had been in DIA's collection since 1978, but had never actually been shown. And so we showed first work set from 2010 to 2012, which was a great opportunity because many of the visitors had never seen it, had never had an opportunity to interact with the work before. So that was something that was very special for us. And in 2011, we held a colloquium from which many of the contributors to the book that we're releasing today contributed. That would be Eric Verhagen, Gregory Williams, Rachel Haidu, Barbara Clausen, and Ulrike Müller. And so that was in 2011.
An interview with
and of course Jennifer Winkworth. Interview, which, sorry, didn't forget that. And
historical, meanwhile.
Yeah. So a short 5 years later, and here we are. So one of the things I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes that struck me as we were working on the book was the way that people found out that their first encounters or their primary encounters with your work was through books, and not even just the scholars, but artists as well. Peter Halley had said that, and if you see Ulrike Müller's essay in our book, it's really an investigation of your publication history. And since this is a book launch, I thought it might be a nice idea to talk for a few minutes about your unique history with books and the way that books have interacted with.
Well, the first book which came out on my work was in '68. Mm-hmm. It was the occasion to create the König Verlag in Cologne. Right, the reason to do it for Caspar, he was the editor at the time, was that he said, how can we show your work concept? It's not the pieces of the work, but the activation. The pieces in storage situation, of course, you can address somehow as works in itself, like classical works. What happens when you activate them? They turn into something else, become a kind of implement. So, claiming that activation, doing action, to be an artwork, at the time, I speak of the 60s, was very unusual. But how to show that in a book? We choose the photo sequences, and I wrote texts on my experience, ideas, projections, concepts in the activation. But I realized quite soon that language is
Yeah.
difficult to describe. You can't really describe it. I had to invent language parallel to it to give an idea of this idea of work, activation as a work. So we found the book at the time had an enormous impact because this type of book, maybe you know it, Objekte benutzen.
Yes.
This type of book didn't exist the way it was. Formally, didn't exist before. And also, people make, at the time, sometimes jokes about it. We'd have pages empty.
Oh, yeah.
Just the reader should project to imagine parallel
Right.
to
For
the
note-taking.
diagrams.
Yeah, no, it's...
That was in 68, by the way.
That was in 68. It's
Yeah.
a unique book and has become very legendary. It was actually created before you finished the first work set, which I thought was... so it actually predates the work that we're talking about, or the finishing
Well,
of it.
It was offered by Caspar Koenig to do it. And it's right, the work set was not finished yet. And at that time I did live in New York. And East Broadway had a studio, loft.
Yeah.
And Caspar Koenig invited the artists he knew, which took part in the activation, to do the photographs. Among them, Donald Judd, Robert Ryman, by the way, Paul Teck, who else? James Lee Byers, and so on. So that was, at the time, they all were almost unknown artists, except Judd. He was a little bit known. But one thing I have to say, it sounds like a joke, but it shows the way of reception. Judd used to say, "I like your work, but without people." So, that was so unusual. So when in a rest situation, it was wonderful, but the activation, what does it mean? So they applied terms like, it's a kind of happening. Action is still minimal art, and so on and so on. Some spoke of kind of body art. So there was no language yet to describe this undertaking. Yeah. Was a big problem, the reception.
Right, and just curious about the reception, because you were living in New York at the time, as you said, but the book is written in German. It was published in Germany. Was it intended that it would introduce it to an audience that was on the other side of the world? Did it have much of a presence in the United States when it came out?
No, there was also a plan by Something Else Press, maybe it's still known. They wanted to issue a English version, but it didn't come to it for a certain reason. That was the intention to do this.
Interesting, yeah. And you mentioned the blank pages, that I know that at the same time as Objekte benutzen was coming out, you'd been working on diagrams, doing drawings, and taking notes yourself as you're working out your understanding of this.
Well, the diagrams, these so-called work drawings, I didn't want to publish because at the time they appeared too conventional. For instance, saying of Joseph Kossel, you said, with your work set, you have thrown the ball so far ahead. With your drawings, you are so far behind. They seemed too conventional. It was, for them, too, not personal, but too private. He used to say, it smells too much, too European. It smells so much. When I used color at that time, it was objectivity, black and white, being objective. So, and I had no problem. I said, well, it's my private diary. So it was for a long time my private diary where I wrote down my experience, my ideas, projections in the activation. So it took a long time, almost 7, 8 years, till I came to the idea of publishing them too.
Right. You talk about your notes during the MoMA Spaces exhibition, late '69, early '70. You kept a diary of your interactions with the public for the days that you were present in the space, and you ended up publishing that with Heiner Friedrich in the year or two after 71. So, and that also included diagrams. So how did that come about? Did you have the intention always to publish it? Was it
I wrote the experience with the audience. I wrote down for myself. Then Heiner Friedrich came to the idea to say, we have to publish it, it's interesting. I thought what I had written down was not really that interesting, but he insisted we do it. Yeah. And also he saw some of my diagram sketches, add some of them. So this I did.
Right. And then
do you found it interesting?
We found it interesting.
So it's being translated now into English.
Yeah.
And
so we translated it into English. It appears for English for the first time in the first work set publication here. But we came to it simply because, Eric Verhagen for one, Ulrike Müller, so many people seem to have been really touched by it. They'd been really influenced by it, had really said a lot about your work. And it's such an intimate piece of writing because it's you speak of just so much of the difficulty that you had at the time communicating the work.
What has that to do with art? How can you say this is a sculpture, and so on and so on? Yeah. That a work would exist in time, the so-called fine arts, that was not usual. It's a matter of literature, of music and theater. But the fine arts can't do it. It has to transform it. Allegory, symbolic, and so on and so on. So, but I think I proved that it's possible.
And then you published another book with Heiner Friedrich around the same time, this Process Material. And it feels, we have both of them at the back of the room, that when we brought out Objekte benutzen, it was incomplete because some of the work pieces didn't exist yet. So it's a completion. Okay. Yeah, the pieces which were done afterwards. And Heiner said we have to publish them too. That was the reason. So it's like an appendix to Objekte.
It was an appendix, yes.
Okay. And I think I'd like to start drawing our attention to the book we have here. This was created, I think, in 69 or 70?
No, from 63 to 69. I will perform it later on. It was done parallel to the work set. So the first piece of the work set is from 63, the last one done in 69. And the work set consists of 58 pieces, as you know, and we have 29 pages. I think each page somehow points to at least two basic themes in the work set. That was my intention. So it's also a process of
Yeah. And how did you come to think of it as a book, that would be the form that it should take?
Say, I have other works done before which also have the form of a book. So to have them separate, it would be more a thing of objects. To have them as a compendium, it had to have the part of a book. It's related to proportion of hand, arm, foot, head. There's another one I developed later on which relates to the whole body, which is in size much larger. And that was done the same, I think, the edition of 8, like the first work set.
Okay. Great. And I think that this particular process book we haven't had an opportunity for you to use as part of Dia's collection yet, so this is a special opportunity for us.
I think it has never been acted with.
Ever.
It's so clean, so fine.
Well, should we
but the only problem is I have to have it on the floor. And how can we do this, that you see my activation?
Yeah, so let's...
Maybe here you can also send around here, but I need this space too, because some of the elements...
If you all want to come and
Wait. That's okay. You can take part if you want to. It's a symbol is related to the size of the hand. Proportion, the relation to the body. Why head inside. If you have your patience, you wait for how it fills out. It's closed all around. It sucks in. So, press it out. That's usually very fun. It's like you look cross-eyed. So when you're close, it becomes one whole visual. You're laughing so nice. Smiling so nice, actually. We have a nice film, therefore the red, this is the center, so people walk around like position marks in space. I think it's the only bright color in this. It's because of this visuality when you walk around. So I don't choose the color material for aesthetical reasons. It's always functional idea behind the concept. Thank you. You have to choose the material precisely. It needs a certain stability, you know. Not too heavy, not too heavy. The landscape, for instance, I collected things and put them in here, took them out afterwards again. We were together for a dialogue, material dialogue for a while. That also can be like this, frame, box, fragileness. This element could be for 4 people, that side having both arms inside, next to each other. Or for one person to proceed from one segment to the other. Forward and back. It's a chord of about 100 meters, so sometimes in space, you know, you move around, segmenting the surrounding, proportioning it. First I should show you this one. So it unrolls for about 5 to 6 meters. It's not decided what to do with it. At the end you can hold it outside if there's wind, you know. It moves. It relates to the 11-meter path I did in '64. It's also from that year. It's a kind of linen, I think. place two people opposite and the ones inside. Wonderful, nice. It's a very sturdy material. It's divided in the center. Lisa, you can stay here. Now we swear.
This is a serious project. That's the Boy Scouts. Drop pages. 40 for that.
Physically, I'm not in the condition to make use of that. It's to step inside, being fixed, it's kind of make it to this to a pedestal, but I fear that I will tumble over. So, you see, this also again is a sturdy material. The height relates to the foot, the feet. And this one, the height to the legs, can be fixed by this rope. You'll remember our pedestal piece relates to that too. Can expand. It's one of my main motifs, frames. It's padded, but I think it's inside, maybe fabric cut to pieces. So it's a certain stability.
The functional head of the frame of reference. It's not padded. It's important. It's very much. You have to figure that
This is very sweet. I think you need some rest. just for one.
Oh, it's for one?
We'll see why.
Oh, okay.
He's got to dance now.
Very tempting.
But I don't mind to do it.
It's a tango then.
I try to show the way I want it. Concerning time, that was the short version.